And you can hear me? Yes. Very good. Yes, and I will show you, this is the room. They are here. Very good. So you know if someone asks a question, what they might look like if you remember them. Very good. Let's start by just finding a comfortable position, closing our eyes, and just recognize what is here in this moment. How this moment is expressed through bodily sensations, feelings, thoughts, whatever comes, what comes through the senses, all these things. Just recognize this moment. Maybe you have sticky feelings or things that have been lingering during the day. And instead of trying to get rid of them, you invite them. Even if this is something that you might see as a negative feeling, a frustration or irritation or something that is nagging you in the background, you just allow it completely. Just invite it in. And in this invitation of everything that comes through the senses and your thoughts and everything, you stay completely alert. So in this very wakeful state, in this very alert observing, you recognize everything that happens in this moment. You don't try to make anything. You don't try to make your mind more quiet or anything like that. You allow everything as it is. You just recognize what is here. What is the expression of this moment? And nothing is wrong here. The feelings that you have, allow them. The thoughts might come. Don't resist them, that will just multiply them. Just allow completely. You just recognize this expression that is the present moment. And you rest here. And you see the content of it naturally move. It's not about fixing or controlling or changing. It is to be present. Completely allow the present moment as it is. Be in full acceptance of this moment and what it expresses. And to recognize that in this observation, in this witnessing of the present moment, there are gaps. It's like a quiet stillness that hides behind all these expressions, all these phenomena, all these things that come and go. They come out of that and they fall into that. And this quiet space, this alertness, this awareness is not really a thing. It itself is not a phenomena. It just knows what is. And usually we might identify with thoughts and feelings and get drawn into them, and we're caught up in all these feelings of victimhood and being in a situation. But all that is always witnessed by this awareness. It can recognize that it's there, and it can recognize that it is gone. This awareness is your nature. You could call it the first expression of I. But it's not the I like thoughts think of the I. It's not the I that wants to become something. This awareness just is. It's not a state, it's your nature. And we recognize it time and time again to come back to our innate nature. If you notice this expression in the moment, you notice your true nature. And at first in meditation it might feel like you're chasing it. You try to achieve this natural beingness. But it can seem so elusive. When you want to get there, it goes. Because the wanting just strengthens the idea of the person, wanting to achieve, wanting to become. And in the natural recognition of this moment, there is just being. And the more you come back to this observing, the more you will recognize the naturalness of this expression. That it's not something you can do. Even though the ego feels like it is chasing it. And if you get lost in thoughts, you come back to recognize this moment. Notice that there is thinking. Notice the expressions of this moment. You can open your eyes, move your body, stretch out your legs if you need to. So now I can do this. To learn about meditation is not to learn about anything new, actually. It's not a new subject, like many subjects. It's just a recognition of things that you already know. But it's much more about the subtle nature of things. And you could also say it's a question of priority. Because in most people's daily experience, they prioritize emotions and thoughts a lot. They're in the forefront. They dictate every moment. And most people are never even considering that thoughts and emotions can be observed, that they can be recognized. You will say it in passing, but not as a part of your daily life. Most people seem to look through the lens that the content of the mind is everything. And I understand that conclusion. And it's usually not until you start to get really tired of the content of your mind that you start to look somewhere else. That you start to question this experience and what is the purpose of it. And do the things that you consider making you happy, do they really make you happy? All the efforts and all the ideals that you're striving for, do they really hold their promise? It's a valid question, no? Is there gold at the end of the rainbow? Or are you already carrying the gold, but you don't recognize it? What is life quality? What is it that brings quality to life? What creates aliveness? What creates a good life? Is it to have much hope and expectations for the future? Many people have that idea and live from that. And the recognition of what is here is very weak. Always dissatisfaction, always going somewhere else. But what if this is it? What if this moment is your life? Then you might feel healthy and young, and that there are so many years still, so much potential to realize things. But what do all those ideas do with the present moment? Do they add to the present moment, or do they take something from it? And I'm not asking you to believe me in any way. I just want you to look. And I understand that this kind of investigation can feel scary, can feel out of the box. And to some of you, perhaps it's just normal. But in investigating these things, you will realize that most people just pose, like they have a sense that they know who they are, what the purpose of their life is, and all this. And the more you look into it, the more clear it becomes that life is not knowable like that. It is just this present moment unfolding. And to the ego, it can feel very small. It has the idea of, but that is almost nothing. Is it just this? All those grand visions I have of my future and the ideas where I have come from and all this. Yes, they are there, but they are just expressions of memory or projections of ideas into the future. And they all happen in this present moment. So what is real? We're very used to talk about what is real and what is true on the relative level, on the surface level. We talk about speaking the truth or a lie, or we say about our daily life after the vacation that we're going back to reality. But are we really? What is real in this experience? What is permanent? What does not change? Is it possible to recognize that? Or is everything just some muddy changefulness? And these things that we talk about here, are they a philosophy to be believed in? And if you believe them, what does that do? You might enjoy this talk and you might enjoy the things that are said. But if they're just a belief, what does that do? What happens when they're lived? And this deep recognition of what is not a philosophy. It's practical. It is in this moment. I was so surprised when I realized that the things that were talked about in meditation were not symbolic or some kind of belief more, or a world view. When the expression and the experience that you have of the present moment is removed from personhood, you get surprised. You understand why people use expressions like oneness. Because there is no center to the experience. It dawns on you why Ramana Maharshi answers questions like, how can I help others, with there are no others? When I heard it at first, that just seemed absurd. What do you mean by that? I understood that there was something profound in it. What does it mean that there are no others? On what level are we the same? And is that, as I thought, philosophical? Yes, on like the level of energy or the level of something, we're all the same. I didn't think that it would be experience. I couldn't fathom that. When I first saw it, I felt like I just wanted to point to the teacher I had at the time and say, look, what he says is real. Because it felt like everyone believed it as philosophy. Can you understand this? And it felt like people just wanted to believe it so much. They would love to say that they understood it somehow and really could feel it, and you could sense from their telling that they had no experience of it. But the longing is there so much for this unification, and the tiredness you can feel of feeling separate. And sometimes when people talk in Vedanta, it sounds like that separateness is something ugly. The best way would be if you could bypass it somehow. It could seem a little bit more like you had a sense of the bigger oneness while you still felt very separate. Life is not complicated. But the ego makes it very complicated. The experience itself is simple. Every phenomena has the same properties. Comes, stay for a while, and go. That is all. Even this body that can seem very solid, fleshy, is made of other elements that come and go. You put food in, it changes a little bit in time. All this changefulness. Thoughts come, stay for a while, go. Even states, even beliefs that you have that can seem very rigid and with you for a long time. Maybe you believed something since childhood. Maybe you think you're not enough. And you just have a strong belief of that, or are incapable in some way, and it just lingers with you. It's still is a thing that comes and goes, and it has to be continuously believed in. And please look at that. See how that works. Because we look usually at our thoughts, and when we observe our thinking mind, only on the level of from the eyes of identity. Do you understand what I mean by that? That first you believe that you are someone, and then that someone is having a thought. Something is happening to that person. But most people's experience is not that first belief. They don't recognize that they become a someone. But you lose that state of someoneness sometimes. You get lost in painting a painting or playing a musical instrument, and it feels like that comes back. Sometimes when you go from deep sleep to the wakened state, that has not yet come back. So it feels like all the things that are connected to that idea of the person and the situation comes into place again. I know that some of you have seen this. Because it needs to be upheld. But it is the idea of the person and the upholding of the ego is like a persistent idea. It seems like I am separate from the world. It seems like I am a doer. I am doing things. I have to uphold my life somehow. I am making an effort to be better. Or fighting to be good enough, to be recognized, to be loved. And for many people, life is mostly an inconvenience. It's something in the way of the ideas that you have. Something that needs to be molded and changed. And it's easy to point the finger outwards and say, society is like this, other people are like that, this and this is what created my situation. And this is a very brutal way to live. And for many people, that psychological load just gets heavier with time. And if you get tired of it enough, you come here, usually. And I won't bring you a lot of ideas or strategies or give you a map that you're going through step 1 to step 10 or anything like that. I just want you to recognize what you believe that you are in this moment. Come back to the source of that. See if there is a center to this experience that is a persistent you. And what is in this experience that is not coming and going? Can you follow that question? Can you understand it? Because for most people, the content and the situation of their life is what they call their life. But the aspect that is just aware of that is silent behind all of it. And there is a sense that you can have a remembrance of it or a recognition of it. It's not a phenomenon that comes and goes, but from the idea of the doer, it seems like there is something that you can recognize and you can relax into. And when teachers of non-duality and Vedanta and these kind of traditions say that there is nothing to do, some people just get, okay, so it's not, I don't have to go and listen to these talks because there's nothing to do, is their conclusion. But it doesn't mean that there is nothing to recognize. It just means that the doer cannot create meditation. Or in other words, the doer cannot create more now. And if you put it in those terms, you understand the ridiculousness of effort in it. And why you can just recognize this moment. You cannot move yourself more into it. And the most common question I get in different forms is, how do I move more into the now? I know that some of you are feeling that right now. How can I strategize to better be here? But that is not how this moment works, because you are already in the present moment. And your idea of that you are going deeper into the present moment will actually do the opposite, because that will strengthen the idea of the identity, and you will feel more separate from this moment. And you will start to look at yourself even more as a doer. But as you are listening to me in this moment, it is possible to also watch the whole process of listening. You notice that there is thinking. Maybe you like what I say, or you don't like it. Maybe you get provoked by it. Maybe it feels perfect. Whatever sense you have, watch that. Be aware of that. Whatever feelings are accompanied with this moment, be aware of that. Notice that everything has the same qualities. Everything changes, everything moves, everything comes and goes. And I know that it is very easy to go into different ideas of trying. Maybe you feel like there's too much doership, so you try to let go more. You try to be in surrender. But this also just strengthens the idea again of the person and takes you more away from this moment. But there are practices of the mind that work. But they don't recognize more mind. To ask the question, to whom is this happening? And to find the source. To look for the source of the one that feels like I. Try it in this moment. See if you can recognize if there is a center to the sense of I. All of you have a sense of I. And in the moment it can feel like you can have a strong sense that you are the body, for example. But then you have to question, but what is aware of the body? What is prior to the experience of the body. And everything you identify as has that quality. Even if a thought comes and you recognize yourself to be in a situation or being as someone, that thought at some point will go. It will definitely go in deep sleep. So what is it that does not need to be upheld? This thing in you that is just aware. And is that really a thing? And when you look for this, the naturalness, the natural stillness of being will be the thing that you will always recognize is behind all of it. Like the sky behind the clouds, it does not go. And it's not gone even if there is a full cover of clouds. The sky can never go. It is the same with awareness. And even though you might not set out to change anything, being aware of the content of your mind changes your experience. Awareness itself has that quality. It's like things being revealed by a light. It's not because the light has a specific intention to shine, it just illuminates. It doesn't look for a specific thing to illuminate, it just shines. And from the ego's perspective, the light of awareness can seem like such a tiny thing. What will it do to be aware of this moment? Until you recognize that that is everything. That it was breathes life in everything. If you're distracted, it diminishes. If you're identified as a person, it's less. Then it feels like there's like a trance in front of the eyes that make the world a little bit duller. And as soon as it lifts, you look at the world anew, like your eyes are fresh. The moment get to be like it is for the first time. There's a sweet innocence to it. Mundane things are no longer boring. They're just seen in the beauty of awareness itself. And the spaciousness that comes with it brings empathy and love, because it does not need to defend itself. It's not a victim of loneliness, or it doesn't feel challenged by the situation. And some of you sense it when you sit, maybe when you come here, and you feel like you lost it when you're in another situation. Maybe with people you identify again as a someone, trying to be something, and you lose it for a while, and it feels lost. But in actuality, it can never really be lost. It is your nature. You just for a moment believe in something else. And this is the play of identity. And this is how, if the idea of identity has been very strong, it begins to weaken. Even if the mind makes strong statements, you will start to doubt that those are true. And this is the most beautiful doubt. You look at what the mind says, and you're not convinced. The belief is not total. And maybe another part of you feel a bit scared of it. Because the foundation of your ideas of what life is not as solid as you first thought. But the beauty of this freedom is that it just shows you more of what is. the true nature of this moment. And if you really look, you will come to moments where you just feel afraid. This is normal. This is natural on the spiritual path. You can feel like you're about to disappear. You can feel like things feel less real or less important. But in that there is a spaciousness and there is peace. And sometimes it just takes a while for it to settle. For some of you it will be a slow burn, for others it will be a shock. This is just the differences that we face. But it's common to be a little bit afraid, and it's all right. But there is this light in you that is guiding you, the light of awareness itself, and the longing to know oneself. Or, to put it more clearly, for awareness to know itself. And with this naturalness, with the allowance of just letting things unfold, be more attentive, comes the old tendencies. Because as soon as the mind gets spacious, there is space for the vasanas, for the old tendencies that have been suppressed, that has not been recognized, to come to the surface. Sometimes they come as tears, sometimes they come as fears, sometimes they come as laughter. And if you practice for a while, you might even recognize when it starts to stir, when it starts to come. And you don't have to do anything with this. Please don't do any intellectual acrobatics with them. Don't have to tell about it to your friends or do anything with it. You just let it go. It can seem big, but it's just another thing, coming, staying for a while and going. And all you will sense from it is that the heaviness is gone. And in most people's sadhana, in their practice, it takes a while to recognize. But you might find the world more gentle, people around you have become nicer. It seems like the world is changing, but it's only you. You are no longer triggered, and you don't even remember how it was to be triggered by the thing that you've been triggered by your whole life. It's just lost. And you might recognize it in a situation that is obvious, a situation that you prior would be triggered in. That's the only way to notice. But the mind becomes spacious. If we talk about progression, the only progression that you can be aware of is that the mind becomes more silent, more spacious. It doesn't jump from thing to thing. It's easier to be with one thing. You will start to enjoy the gaps between the thoughts. They will be longer and very enjoyable, very peaceful. Not in some ecstatic kind of way or because that state will bring something. You just enjoy the moment. You watch the trees. You watch the water, whatever you look at. And just enjoy the contentment of being. I know it's easy to think of meditation that is going to take you to some elevated state, some blissful plane of enlightenment. But that is so easy when you talk about it like that, to make it something to aspire to. All that enlightenment is the full acceptance of this moment as it is. That makes it so much more accessible than striving for some high state. And when you are with that sense of just being, you might recognize that it is not so easy to just be as you are. But that is also fine. It's very, very practical. It's not some high philosophy. It's not a utopia. It is this moment and the acceptance of it. Meditation is difficult at first. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. If you haven't practiced before and you never touched these things, it will take some time, usually. But the depth of meditation is not some abstract or extremely unobtainable thing. It's just that you have to be very honest with your experience. And all your longings, your desires, your needs, all these things have to be looked at. Are they expressed? Are you natural with them? Are you ashamed of them? All these things. It's so easy to self-censor, to try to be something else. But if you want to be in the acceptance of this moment, you have to start with the things that are expressed in this moment. There's no way around it. And you can actively invite, especially if you are a little bit established in the meditation and you can come back to this state of just being and observing. If observing the thoughts and emotional states are clear to you, then you can start to invite things. Because many things, we have a relationship to them on arm's length. We don't really want to be close to certain things because we think that, because we might just be ashamed of them or not liking them or whatever. But that actually reinforces them. All the emotions and all the expressions that are in you that you don't recognize, that you say, I don't want that, just creates a reinforcement of it. And in meditation, you can always allow that. And if there is a natural expression of that the world can help you with, it will do its part. It will show you. If you ask for it, there will be a possibility to express this thing. Someone will come along, and you start to talk about it, and you find a way. Life is very, very dynamic. And it really wants to help you look at all these things. All your fears and desires and all those things. Life comes and and shows you. And especially if you start to understand this dynamic, you will have less expectations and just allow the expressions to show you. And as Ramana said, when the teacher is needed, the teacher will appear. And that means all kinds of teachers. Sometimes your enemy is your teacher. The child that is a truth sayer is your teacher. The circumstances are your teacher. Your frustration is your teacher. Your shame is your teacher. Your fear is your teacher. Your anger is your teacher. They can all be. And in this allowance of the moment, the universe will bring you exactly what you need. I have a good example of this, the day that I became a student of my teacher, of my guru. I was staying in his ashram in India, but I was visiting another teacher that was in India that I was going to at the time. And this other teacher that I saw as my teacher at that moment, he was much more famous. He drew bigger crowds. But I got very little out of going to his satsangs. So I was a bit frustrated. And I also went to the satsangs of Swami Shashwat, that is now my guru. But I didn't really see him as my teacher, because he was just this not so famous guru in Rishikesh. And he asked me at some point what I wanted from staying at an ashram. And I felt stupid because I told him the exact circumstances that he had at his ashram would be my ultimate. And it was like he just showed me that you're already here. You don't have to go to some teacher that is more famous or more renowned in some way when everything is here. And it's so easy to be charmed by all the external things and your ideas of what your spirituality should be, that you don't look. You don't recognize that perhaps the situation that you're in is the perfect situation. Is exactly what is supposed to be played out. It's so easy to dream about something else, even on the spiritual path, that you might think is somewhat free from that. But it's not. And most people have ideas of how the teaching should be and how it should come to you and how it will be shown. But you don't know. Sometimes it will be clearly expressed in words, and your sincerity in just coming and listening to satsangs and talks is the obvious way of being with it. But sometimes it's the people around you, the situations, the things that seem sometimes the least spiritual. A disagreement with a friend that really shows something profound. There are so many ways for the identity to relate to this experience. And all meditation does is make that more natural. Make that expressiveness more natural. What was once unexpressed can be expressed. So many people have a sense of love in their life. They don't know what to do with it because they always considered all flavors and all expressions of love to be personal. So it becomes very big for them. If they say it to someone, it's so big. Relationships gets weird with it because it feels like I cannot really love people who I'm not in a relationship with in that sense. Or there's so many ways of being with this very, very natural feeling. And love in its depth is not personal. It is just love. And if you recognize that expression, you just see the love in someone else. I think this is one of the most suppressed feelings. Because it has so much cultural context. And it's such a taboo to say to people that you love them even. It just means there is a lot of expression of love in me. And you are a part of that. That's all that I love you means. It does not automatically mean I want you. You belong to me. I have picked you now. Something like that. That is to diminish love. And of course you can use love however you want in your cultural context. But it's still a natural expression for us, and it's so easy to distort it. And when you allow this expression, it's also so freeing to be allowed to love everyone. Even the ones you don't like. You still love them. And that you notice that this natural love and this natural empathy creates no resistance. Because as soon as you hold a grudge or you hate someone, you have to carry that. You have to uphold it. It has to be something. So you're actually not so much, very little hurting someone else, but you create a lot of separateness in yourself. And this is one of the things that makes the acceptance of the present moment scary. Because it embraces everything. The embrace of the present moment as it is does not pick and choose. How could it? It does not mean that you go along with everything, because that is not love. It doesn't mean that you're agreeable to every situation. It just means that you accept the moment as it is, and also the expressions of your no. The expression of your integrity. And you might think that you become very peaceful and very, very agreeable from meditation, but it's actually not true. Ask Ola, who hangs out with me sometimes, if I'm very agreeable in every situation. He would say no. Because you feel so much love for the situation, what is happening, that the things that go against that just becomes very obvious. The intention is very clear. There's no, maybe I'm doing this out of fear, maybe I should try this, maybe I should be more protective, maybe I should relate to people like this. Like many people relate to their world. And to be with a guard up all the time. This is also not a nice way to live. That is very limited. And in the allowance of allowing everything to be as it is also to allow the expressions of emotions. If force and anger is needed in a situation to calm it down or to contain it somehow, or if people are hurting each other, then it's very much needed. I would explain it like it's like the emotions are on your fingertips. If there needs to be laughter, laughter will come. If you need to cry, that will be released. If you need to strongly set a limit, that will be. They're not censored. They're not in a strategic psychological pattern of trying things all the time or being on guard. They just expressed. It doesn't make you impulsive. It just makes you loving. And as soon as you go into fear, you are robbed of that. Then you again have to be a person in a situation doing something, and the expressions would be like that. This is all that meditation does. It just removes that hindrance. It's not magical. It's not utopia. It's not impossible. It's just what is. And so often I get told, yes, I hear what you say, but how do I embody it? How do I do so that it becomes my reality? It's just being sincere with it. Really listen. Ask the questions. What is happiness? What am I? And if you're very philosophically minded, go all the way. See if you can find a depth through that until you get frustrated with it. That's also fine. Those things are also allowed to be expressed if you have that tendency. It's so easy in spirituality to be locked into a box. When someone asks me, but all I want to do is sing mantras to Krishna day and night. Okay, go. Do it. See what it does. Be aware. Look and see what it does. Does it make a separation between you and awareness and godliness itself? Or does it unite? Because that is so much in the intention of it. Are you too small to be merged with Krishna? Or whatever image that you have or symbol that you have. And you come into the challenges of worthiness. Are you worthy of this? When you start to experience this vast stillness and the immense love and energy that comes with it, and the connection you feel with everything, can you take it? Are you worthy? You will meet all that. How much love can you take? Do you know? If it is full, what does love do? If it's overflowing, what does it do? If it is so much that it makes your body start to shake, are you worthy? Can you be with it? Can you allow it? Or will you doubt? Or will you say, it's too much? I cannot be this. These expressions of saintliness or the ideas that you have of it. But But you are not a container that can be filled. This is the good news. You're just the emptiness in which love is expressed. That's it. You don't have to stick it to anything. You don't have to hold it. You don't have to keep it. You don't have to brag about it. You just allow it to happen. This is the beauty of the present moment. And the acceptance of it is the allowance of it to move. Is there any questions today? No? Then maybe we can sing something. I'm handing out some papers here, but most of the mantras are very, very simple. So you will be able to follow quickly. I'm going to sing another one. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, 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 Jai Jai Shri Radhe. May all beings recognize the innate stillness and peace that is in the present moment. May all enjoy the natural bliss that comes from beingness. And give gratitude for the blessings that come with this teaching. The simple recognition of asking the question, to whom does this belong? To look for the first expression of I. The natural beingness, the natural awareness that always resides in this moment. Beyond ego, beyond thinking, beyond becoming. and to land in this gratitude of the moment. This deep gratitude that's not grateful for specifics, but embraces the whole. That understand that thankfulness is a door that opens and allows the present moment. Thank you.